Welcome to all of you, my friends. On the chapter first, historical background of the Indian polity, M. Laxmikant. The British came in India in 1600 as the traders in the form of the East India Company, and this East India Company had the exclusive right to trade in India. And this exclusive right, that is now the Royal Charter given by the Queen Elizabeth I of the England. Up to 1765, East India Company purely trading company, but in 1765 East India Company obtained the Diwani of the Bengal, Bihar and Odisha, and company started its career as a territorial power in India. The Diwani means rights over revenue and civil justice. The Mughal Emperor Shah Alam gave the Diwani rights to the East India Company after the East India Company's victory in the Battle of the Buxar of 1764. After the Sepoy Mutiny of the 1857, that is called the First War of the Independence, the British Crown direct take the responsibility of the governance in British India, and there is the need of the constitution. So the M. N. Roy in 1934 suggested that the need of the constitution, and in 1946 the Constituent Assembly was formed for the making the constitution of the India, and 26 January 1950 Constitution of India come into being, and the British rules and events influence our constitution and the polity, so we discuss them in chronological order. The British rule in India. British has ruled in India in the form of the East India Company and the British Crown. The East India Company ruled from 1773 to 1858, and they passed the following act. First act is the Regulating Act of the 1773. The constitutional importance of the Regulating Act of 1773 is: first, steps taken by the British government to regulate and control the affairs of the East India Company in India, and second, it recognized the political and administrative functions of the East India Company, and the Regulating Act of the 1773 laid the foundation of the central administration in India. Features of the Regulating Act of 1773. First, Governor of Bengal designated as the Governor General of Bengal, and the first Governor General of Bengal was the Lord Warren Hastings, and it created an executive council of 4 members to assist the Governor General of Bengal, and it made the Governor of Bombay and the Governor of Madras presidencies subordinate to the Governor General of Bengal, and it prohibited the company's servants to private trade and accepting the presents or bribes from the native, and it strengthened the control of the British government over the company by requiring the Code of Directors. What do you understand by the Code of Directors? The Code of Directors is nothing but it is the governing body of the East India Company to report on revenue, civil and the military affairs in India, and to rectify the defects of the Regulating Act of 1773, British Parliament passed an amending Act of 1981. This is also known as the Act of the Settlement, and the next act is the Pitt's India Act. We will discuss in the next slide. The Pitt's India Act of 1784, it was introduced in the British Parliament by the PM William Pitts. That is why it is called the Pitt's India Act. The Pitt's India Act distinguished between the political and the commercial affairs of the East India Company, and it allowed the Court of Directors to manage the commercial affairs of the East India Company, and created the Board of Control to manage the political affairs of the East India Company. Pitt's India Act established a system of the double government. The Pitt's India Act of 1784 empowered the Board of Control to supervise and direct all operations of the civil, military, government or revenues of the British possession in India. Significant of Pitt's India Act of 1784, the company's territory in India, first time called the British possession in India. The second one, the British government was given the supreme control over the company's affairs and its administration in India. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icons to get the all notifications.